There are safes you crack for money. And then there are safes you don't touch, no matter the price. This one fell into the second category. But I didn't know that when I said yes. The job came through an old contact named Vincent DeSoto, small-time fixer in LA, always 2 steps behind his debts, but useful when you needed doors opened quietly. He called me from a burner. Told me there was a client looking for someone, surgical, no noise, no cameras, no trail. Location: the Alabaster Hotel, downtown Los Angeles. A forgotten Art Deco relic wedged between 2 skyscrapers like a scar nobody talked about. Target: 1 safe. Room B2-11. No guests. No witnesses. Just get in, open it, take what's inside, and leave it. Simple. $500,000 wired in 2 halves. First half up front. The other half after the job. They didn't care how I did it. They just said one thing. Do not open the safe in the room. Just crack it. No instructions beyond that. No details about what was inside. And I should have known right then. When a client pays you $500,000 just to open a door, they don't want treasure. They want secrets. I prepped the job for 3 nights. The Alabaster hadn't seen real business in 20 years. Once a luxury hideout for gangsters and movie stars. Now, just dust and echoes. Security was a joke. 1 retired night guard, half blind and 2 decades too slow. I posed as a city code inspector doing a structural check on old properties before a supposed renovation project. Walked through the halls with a clipboard and a fake badge. No one asked questions. The elevator didn't even go to B2. I had to take the service shaft and descend 2 floors manually. Room B2-11 was exactly where the blueprints said it'd be. Concrete walls. Rusted fixtures. 1 door. 1 safe. The air down there didn't smell like mildew or mold. It smelled like something had died and been forgotten. The safe was a Roscoe Hall 1903 industrial, reinforced steel with 6-digit combination and reinforced hinges. Antique. But nasty. It wasn't the kind of safe you cracked fast. Unless you had time. Or a history with one just like it. I had both. It took me 39 minutes and 17 seconds to open it. No drill. No heat. Just feel and rhythm, the kind only muscle memory can do. The lock clicked. And then everything went wrong. I opened the door slowly, expecting cash. Or documents. Or maybe just an empty space with some weird blackmail package. Instead, I found a body. Curled into itself. Skin like old wax. Completely encased in concrete, except for the face. Like someone had poured cement into the safe while he was still alive. But that wasn't the worst part. No. The worst part was what was lying next to the body. My ID. Not a fake one. My real government-issued ID, the one I hadn't used in over 7 years. The one I thought I'd burned in a furnace in Tijuana when I erased my old life. It was sealed in a plastic evidence bag. Dated 2 weeks ago. I didn't scream. I didn't panic. I just closed the safe. And realized I was now part of something I couldn't walk away from. I stood there for maybe a minute. No sound. No motion. Just the low hum of the service lights buzzing overhead, and the stench of something old, something wrong. I looked at the safe again. At the concrete. At the plastic evidence bag with my name on it. Whoever staged this. They didn't want me to find something. They wanted me to be found. I backed out fast. Wiped down the handle. Killed the elevator camera feed I'd looped earlier just in case. No prints. No trace. I even pulled the fuse box near the hallway to simulate a blackout. As far as anyone knew, I was never there. But I knew the job wasn't over. Not even close. I made it to my safe house in Echo Park before sunrise. No calls. No contacts. I turned off every device and used a frequency jammer in case anyone had slipped a tracker near me. At 6:17 a.m., the burner phone buzzed. No ringtone. Just a vibration that felt like a cold whisper. It's done. You'll get your second half by tonight. Leave the city. Now. No name. No signature. I didn't reply. Instead, I ran a trace. Spoofed an algorithm to bounce the origin off 10 proxies. It came back to an account flagged 3 years ago in a Homeland Security sting, linked to off-the-books interrogation units. Private. Quiet. Government adjacent. And suddenly, that body in the safe wasn't just a warning. It was a message. I pulled out an old contact list. One name, Mara Hensley. Former DOJ. She used to scrub crime scenes for Fed-linked ops. Got out when they started making messes she didn't want to clean up. I hadn't spoken to her in 6 years. When I called, she didn't say hello. She just said, "What the hell did you open?" I met her at a rest stop 40 miles outside the city. She looked tired. Paranoid. Armed. I told her everything. She didn't blink. Then she said, "You were never supposed to open that safe. That was the job." "No," she said. "The job was to make sure someone found you." She lit a cigarette. Exhaled slow. "They've been cleaning up Project Halberd." "What the hell is Project Halberd?" "Black Site Initiative. Ran off books for nearly a decade. You just cracked one of the dead rooms." "The body in the safe?" According to Mara, he was a former operative, someone who flipped. Disappeared 6 years ago after leaking intel about internal war crimes. Rumor was, his file had gone missing. But if what I found was real, they didn't lose him. They buried him. Alive. And they buried my name with him. "They staged that job," she said. "Framed you with a dead man. You've just been made the fall guy in a story they're about to leak." "Why?" "Because they needed a patsy no one would believe. Someone off the grid, already dirty, already ghosted. You were perfect." I didn't say anything. Just stared into the desert, heart quiet but mind racing. By the time I turned back to Mara, she was already gone. Just her cigarette still smoldering on the concrete. 2 hours after Mara vanished, I started driving. No destination. Just motion. I changed plates twice. Stopped using cards. Threw the burner into the Pacific from a bridge near Monterey and smashed the backup in a motel sink in Salinas. By nightfall, I was in the middle of nowhere. A stretch of dust, desert, and silence on the edge of Nevada. I parked the car behind a burned-out diner and stayed under. But it didn't matter. They still found me. At 3:42 a.m., I spotted the drone. Silent. Small. Black as the sky. Hovering outside the broken kitchen window like a fly looking for blood. I killed the lights, grabbed the bag, and slipped through the crawl space behind the building. 30 seconds later, a black SUV pulled up where my car had been. No headlights. No markings. 2 men stepped out. Tactical gear. Not police. Not FBI. Something in between. They didn't call my name. They didn't knock. They just opened fire. I ran. Through a dry gulch behind the diner. Heart pounding, lungs burning. No gun on me. Just instinct and the advantage of knowing what fear sounds like before it's too late. I disappeared into the rocks. Doubled back 2 hours later. They were gone. But they'd left a message. Nailed to the hood of my car was a photo of me, from 24 hours ago, leaving Mara's rest stop. On the back, in red marker. Runners don't get second chances. This was bigger than a setup. This was a cleanup. And I was the last piece of evidence still breathing. I called in a favor. A man named Ellison, somewhere in Montana. The kind of guy you only go to when the price of truth is higher than survival. He owed me. 12 years ago, I dragged him out of a fire in Marrakesh. Now I needed his help to light one. He answered on the second ring. I've got a name, I told him. Project Halberd. I need eyes, leaks, whatever you can find. He went quiet. Then said, You're in deep, brother. They've buried presidents over less. I don't care. I'm already dead on paper. Then you better make it worth it. Ellison came through. Send me a file dumped through a closed node on a military-grade laptop I'd left buried in a Nevada salt flat 5 years earlier. Inside records. Names. Dates. Satellite footage. One file showed room B2-11 at the Alabaster, 6 years ago. A man being dragged into it. Same body position. Same face. Same fate. Another file? A document signed by a handler named Gerald Cross. Current title, Executive Director of the Strategic Response Intelligence Group, a private firm contracted by 3-letter agencies to manage national security risks. Translation? They clean house. Gerald Cross was the one who ordered the job. And now I knew where he'd be. Gerald Cross lived in a fortress. Not literally, but close enough. Private estate outside Washington, D.C., surrounded by trees, private security, motion sensors, and men trained to shoot before asking. I couldn't get near it. So I didn't. Instead, I made sure he came to me. I leaked the files. Not all of them. Just enough. The satellite footage. A few emails. The B2-11 timestamp. A grainy image of a body in a safe. I posted it anonymously on a whistleblower site buried in the Tor network. Then I let it spread. Forums. Private intel chats. Even a few reporters too paranoid to ignore it. And just like that, the machine that tried to erase me flinched. Ellison called 2 days later. They're scrambling, he said. Internal audit teams are moving. Quiet firings. A DC reporter's gone missing. Whatever you did, it worked. Good, I said. You want to stop now? Not yet. I needed them to feel what I felt. Fear. So I broke into their comfort. One of their dummy offices in New York. 3rd floor. Night shift. 1 guard. Badge in his pocket while he watched TikToks. I left nothing behind but a sticky note on the whiteboard. How many more safes do you have to seal? No name. No trace. But I know it rattled them. Because that night, Gerald Cross booked a private meeting in D.C. Quiet, no assistants, no press. And I was already inside the building. The trick with men like him is they always assume you're still running. They think the threat is distance, exposure, publicity. But the real threat is walking in like you belong. He didn't see me until the door closed behind him. No gun. No mask. Just me. Older. Tired. Alive. You're not supposed to be here, he said. Neither was that man in the safe, I replied. He didn't argue. Didn't bluff. Just sat down and lit a cigar like it was a business meeting. You were never meant to be the story. You were an access point. That's all. And the ID? Motivation. he said coldly. We needed you to feel like you were in danger. Fear makes thieves work faster. He took a slow drag. Looked me in the eye. You got your money. You walked away clean. That should have been enough. He was wrong. Clean doesn't mean free. And I hadn't walked away. I'd been pulled back. Dragged into something no one should have seen. And now, I dragged him with me. I leaned in. This isn't about money. It's about memory. Yours. Mine. And the ones you buried. Then I slid a flash drive across the table. Everything gets dumped. Tonight. Unless I get a name. What name? The one who ordered B2-11. Because I don't believe it was you. He stared at the drive. Then at me. Then back at the drive. You're not bluffing. I've got nothing left to bluff with. 3 minutes later, I walked out of that room with a name I never expected. And a promise I didn't think he'd keep. You'll never hear from us again. That was a year ago. Since then, nothing. No agents. No drones. No cleanup. Just silence. Which, in my line of work, is either peace or a calm before something worse. So I live light. No roots. No ties. The money? Burned or buried. The files? Still alive, duplicated in 6 dead man's switches I can't even find myself. And the truth? It's not that I survived. It's that I opened something I was never supposed to, and instead of closing it, I became part of it.